down. So we're gonna get into all that. You guys are gonna see how this gets plumbed, and then by the end of this video, the frame is gonna be moving on its own, and you guys can watch it cycle, see the cantilever system cycle, and it's gonna be pretty cool. I'm excited to show you guys how it all works, and what Alex is gonna be doing for hardlining and wiring and all that kind of stuff, so that you guys know a little bit more about it. I know that there's people that are watching this that don't necessarily know a lot about hydros. They might do more stuff with bags, or there's people that are just static, or maybe you are familiar with hydraulics and you just don't know cantilever systems. So lots of things going on with this that you could learn about. I'm gonna learn about. We're all gonna learn together and do fun stuff here at Hoppos, because that's what we do. So let's get into it. Unfortunately, you're never going to see them. They're right here. So, there's going to be three. Two are for the fuel. There's the send and return. And then one's going to be the hydro. All three down the side, hard lined, safer to be under the truck. It's so low, don't want it to catch a rock, puncture a line, anything like that. But it is also a little bit of a shame that my name and a couple, like 2.5 on each side of the little frame overlays, I guess you call them. Overlays are going to be covered by the cap. But it is what it is. That's just how it goes. So a few things getting covered up, but it's all in the details. At least that's what we're telling ourselves with this build.
Your back is broken. Spinal.
What's the verdict, Doc?
He's just getting old. Old age. You. I drilled on that one a little bit.
This was not caused by me or my truck. I just want to put that out there. This was this man's own doing.
I asked to go to the doctor, but she says, no, you have a truck to finish. I was like, okay.
I did not say anything of the sort. I did not say anything of the sort.
She said, get back to tubing.
Please, Mama, no more. No more. Okay, so fuel line, hydraulic line.
Now we just gotta get them all to match and fit properly right here. Get these bends all matching. It's a little tricky because I gotta get them matching but also offset at the same time. So
yeah,
kind of a little mine screw up.
And they have to come sort of like they all lay in the same way, but also, I know I mentioned this on previous videos, how hot it's been here in California since we've been doing this build, but it is now September. And although most of you in other states are thinking it's sweater weather, here in California, they misconstrued that and it's actually sweating weather. Because it's 115 degrees outside right now. In Canadian Celsius, that makes it about 44 degrees.
Okie dokie, sorry to hear about that.
Okay, it looks like we kind of have hard lines on the one side. Alex seems to hate them. I think that they look great. Peter, our awesome engine guy, he thinks they look great. Alex here is never satisfied with his own work. So
I'm not a fan. They look good. It's just I like for everything to be symmetrical and matching and stacked perfectly and measurement out loud. And struggling on this one. I'm struggling a little bit.
take a look. Hard lines. This one over here is the hydro line, and then 2 fuel lines. Off they go, around. Unfortunately, because we have this to mount the transmission to, we have to keep this here, so it has to go around. And then up and over. But these little clamps, you can get them at Hoppos. It looks great. Stop.
I know. I just like I would redo the frame just to get the hard lines to look better.
No.
But
Absolutely.
I would notch it so you can have 3 perfectly in a line the whole way down, all symmetrical. But
No.
it's killing me.
It looks phenomenal. Stop it.
Well, I mean, in reality, this is all you're gonna see.
Yeah, exactly. All you're gonna see is this.
But I don't
the
like-
cab goes here. Just like we talked about earlier, this is gonna be hidden, the Georgia's gonna be hidden, half of this is gonna get hidden, which is kind of sad. But with all of that, the hard lines get hidden. So
Yeah.
someone just write a comment below, hype Alex up. Sad boy over here, but it's
I'm just
hard
not
lines.
happy.
You know what? I'm happy with it.
Don't be surprised if they're redone when you come in.
This man better not redo them.
There is no time to redo all that work.
Okay, so all these caps now are on. I didn't get a video of that earlier.
Yeah, these are all grounded already. Alan already did those, so those are grounded. Power's right here, ready to go. He's working on these right now. Then we'll start doing
Okay,
some
so for the people back home, first off, what do you use to hardline?
So this is 035 stainless steel seamless.
Okay.
We do seamless, that way there's no weak spot in the tubing itself. Other than that, I mean, hydraulic you could use steel or stainless, but stainless obviously doesn't rust, it looks better, so.
And when you go into hardlining all of this, do you have a plan or do you just go off what your heart tells you?
I have a plan based off of what my heart tells me. So we set up the fittings how I envision the tubing, so we changed the fitting configuration 3 times
Yeah, a
now.
few times now,
So
yeah.
that's just because like in my mind I know how we can pre-plan or pre-route everything. But plans change on this one. I think we're only gonna have to change one thing so far from our original. But other than that, we should be good. But
What's the game plan right now then?
so once he finishes up the wiring, I'm gonna start doing probably the pressure outs and the returns. I know you're doing it wrong, bro. Yeah, bro.
I already told the people to give you nice compliments because you were talking about how much you hated your hard lines down here. So they're gonna be commenting nice things in the comments.
I doubt it. It's YouTube. Most people are like, well, I seen my granddaddy do that like 75,000 times, and I know you're doing it wrong because I watched it.
I'm tired of this, Grandpa.
That's too damn bad!
Okay, so all these top ones done, and then this is the first one. Goes up, it's back, it connects, back there. That's it for today. They're closing everything up back there. So, we have some hard lines, and they're gonna continue. You're gonna see this thing move by the end of this video, I promise. But for now, that's it for tonight.
See you tomorrow morning.
We're back. It's another day here at Hoppos because that's what we're doing. So, Alex has already begun to hardline things for today because today he is hoping that the hardlining process is going to actually get completed. He's pushing on it, seeing if he can make it happen. Maybe we'll get some movement in this frame and go from there. But so far, while I wasn't here, this line right here, not sure if you can see, got put in. There's gonna be a line that comes over here. Yes, we know this fuel situation of filling my gas tank is going to be a little tricky in the future, but it's okay, don't worry, we'll figure it out. The truck will get gas. The truck will get gas. Anyways, you saw yesterday that all these ones were getting completed, and now he's working on these last ones to connect to all these fittings and the top ones up here, and then go from there. All right, I just saw Alex do a happy dance.
It might have been the Carlton, but
But I asked him, I said, "Are you happy?" And he said, "I'm happy because the tubing is done."
tubing is done. God, I'm tired of seeing tubing.
So he was going a little cross-eyed looking at all this because even though the back of this you're never gonna see because my cab is essentially gonna sit in this general area, it's nice and straight. Everything is working as it should and looking good and uniform, and it looks really nice when you look at it from this side too, which is the more important side because it's gonna get seen more from this side than obviously the other side. So. Hallelujah. Tubing is complete. Can I bother you for one thing then?
One more thing? Yeah, sure.
It's actually not for me, it's for the people that are watching.
Oh, but it's for your YouTube, sure.
Can you give a general little breakdown of, because I know we were talking about how one side is going to be for like front, one side's for the back.
Yeah.
You're trying to keep everything symmetrical and like easy to understand for when you're working on it and things like that. But could you give a little bit of a breakdown of where
from back here.
Let's go over
Yeah,
there.
we'll go over here.
Let's go over there.
Okay, so looking at it from this way, if you're standing at the back of the truck, the way we like to do things is always do the front pump on the left side and the back pump to the right side, which is good, but the thing what makes it tricky on this is everything's exposed. So for us is having to make everything look symmetrical, but tuck all the craziness of the crisscrosses on the back side. But we do left side left, right side right, because in your mind you don't have to think about it. Left hand, right hand. It comes simple, comes natural. That's gonna be normally your first reaction when you're wiring stuff and doing all the switches and stuff like that. So that's the way we like to do it. For this one, we did it exactly like that. I didn't want to change up our style of how we've been doing it for years, but the tricky part was making it look symmetrical for us as you're standing at the backside of it. So what we did is we did all the crisscrosses on the backside. We did some loop-de-loops on the backside, which...
Loop-de-loops, is that the technical term?
Well, I call them loop-de-loops. Anytime you do like a full 180,
All right.
I call it a loop-de-loop.
Okay.
So I do the loop-de-loops on the back and all the weird stuff on the backside. That way, when you stand here, everything looks like matching, 100% matching. You got a left, you got a right, but all the craziness is happening on the backside of the pump.
All right. There we go. And then for those that were asking about these,
Yes.
how would you break those down for people like that are wondering? Because I explained it as they kind of act like a shock in a way.
Yeah,
but
so-
that's kind of a really basic way of saying it.
But that's, I mean, it's correct though. It is. It's the easiest way to explain it is if you guys know what these are, accumulators. It's the same design, same principle. The only difference on this style accumulator is this is a rubber ball or a rubber balloon pretty much on the inside encased by steel. And you put air pressure on the backside and the oil pushes against it and that creates your cushion. It absorbs the shock as you're driving. This is doing the same thing, but instead of having a balloon, we have a coil. So we have a standard coil spring that we use in the suspension normally, and all we do is run this inline on a T, and now every time the suspension feels a shock or a jolt from the road, it absorbs it with that coil. So not only does it have the coil, but it also has the accumulator too. So
Okay, so it'll ride real smooth.
hopefully.
Hopefully. All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right,
Back to work.
back to work.
Okay, update. So, everything is getting tightened, gone over, and essentially made sure that it is where it needs to be and as tight as it needs to be and all that good stuff. Oil is going to go into that center whammy tank, and then wiring is going to get started. The front hoses do need to get connected still. Alex was talking about maybe we might have to make a heat shield because of the turbo situation, and that's not so common for obviously a car with hydraulics. So things are going to get hot up there, and it might need a heat shield. So yeah, wiring is going to begin. Fluid in the tank. We may get some movement today. All right, it's kind of the end of the day here. It's past 5. Everyone's packing up and bringing stuff in and closing up, and we got fluid in the tank, which is great, and everything's hard lined, which is great. So what's our plan for tomorrow?
So we're pretty much buttoned up on tubing and everything. So the last thing left is just wiring. So we already pre-ran a lot of the wires and heat shrunk them and loomed them and everything. So majority of stuff's already done. It's just the dump wires and the solenoid stuff that we just put in right now.
Solenoids over there.
So tomorrow morning we'll come, we'll hit it, and we'll just do the final wiring of the 4 dumps, the 2 solenoids, and connect the batteries to the motors.
We
or
should
solenoids to motors.
have some movement.
Maybe if all goes well, we'll have.
We may have oil go toot, 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 toot everywhere.
I gave her a warning earlier. I was like, just so you know, like there's probably gonna be oil because there's tons of connections. So
It is how it goes. You know the kind of the crappy thing about hydraulics, and I can give this one to the air guys, is that when you have a problem, you don't have a mess. Whereas there's a problem, there's a mess.
but
But
on the positive
we're
side,
cooler.
but on
No,
the
I'm just
positive
kidding.
side is when you have a leak, you're not searching for it for 2 days.
That's solid. That's
Like you just know, like, oh, I got a
there
dip
it
right
is.
there. There it is.
There it is. Yeah.
So
Pros and cons.
Pros and cons. But for sure, I mean, we're making good progress on it to where I feel comfortable enough to tonight have a good night's rest, come in, catch up on it tomorrow, and should be good.
Yeah, ready to go for tomorrow. And then it leaves tomorrow too. Yeah.
Next stop.
To the next stop.
It's so exciting.
We're back at the loudest place on earth, Hoppos, where we spend the majority of our day yelling at each other, and not because we're angry, just because we can't hear. Anyways, one of these days I'm gonna get microphones, I promise. But until then, we're back in the loud shop. Today is the last day before the frame leaves to go to the metal shop, and that means wiring, final fit and finish on things, the trailer's gonna show up, and the frame is gonna have some movement. The hydraulics are gonna work. So the guys are back there wiring right now. There's a couple little things that Alex is finishing up as well, and we're gonna see and test, and well, just come along for the ride.
Actually forcing it to move, you know, we're putting power to it now. So there's a few little things I see we're gonna tweak on right now. We're gonna add some oil. We're gonna check all the lines again, hit it again, and leave it on pressure. Maybe play with it a little bit more.
Oh my gosh! What's your purpose here, sir?
I'm actually sweating and the fans are off, so I'm actually doing the man technique. You guys know what I'm talking about.
Hello? There are children around.
I'm just checking to see how much it's actually absorbing. Obviously, I don't weigh enough to actually compress the whole accumulator, but I want to see if it does budge with me on it, and it did. So that ride.
Heck yeah. Because now that this thing has been cycled a little bit, we can tell that it's flexing in not a way that we want it to flex. So, on the side of safety, changing it to metal. Okay, so new bushings in there. Testing. Since January, maybe December 30th it came to Hoppos, and today is the day that it leaves Hoppos to go to the next step. Is this real right now? It's pretty freaking crazy.
Are you crying? Am I crying? No, I'm not crying. You're crying.
Okay guys, before it gets loaded up onto the trailer, Hoonigan came out. They're taking some shots of it in this loading bay. It's essentially the truck's first photo shoot before it even does anything, which is hilarious. But I'm gonna show you some cool shots of it while it's sitting in here looking badass. So enjoy the footage. and wired and everything. It's moving, and now that means it's moving on to its next step, which means it's going to Adrian, back to Adrian for inner wheel wells and a few other things, fit and finish on the dash, and after that it goes to paint. Can you believe it? We're already at this point. I'm gonna lose my mind. But anyways, thank you all for watching. Thank you always for tuning in, following along with the build. It means so much to me that you guys even care about the build like I do. I mean, I love this thing so dang much, and I'm pouring everything I got into it, and I just appreciate you guys all keeping up with it. So thank you. Keep on mini trucking, and we'll see you on the next episode. Bye!